There is something most men are never taught. They are taught to stay, to fight for it, to hold on, to be the kind of man who doesn't quit. And in most cases, that's right. Steadiness requires commitment. It requires showing up when it's hard. It requires patience and endurance and faith when things are difficult. But there's another kind of staying that has nothing to do with strength. It looks like loyalty. It sounds like faithfulness. But underneath it, if you're honest with yourself, it is fear. And today we're going to talk about something men rarely discuss: the difference between staying because you're called to and staying because you're afraid to leave. Because a steady man knows how to hold on, but a steady man also knows when to let go. I want you to think about something for a moment. Think about a relationship, a situation, a dynamic in your life that you already know is not healthy. You know it, you have known it for a while, and yet you are still there. Maybe it's a relationship where you are constantly managing someone else's emotions, where conflict is always your fault, where your peace depends entirely on someone else's mood. Maybe it's a friendship where you're always giving and rarely receiving, where you leave every conversation feeling smaller than when you arrived. Maybe it's a work situation, a church situation, a family dynamic that has been broken for years and everyone pretends it's fine. And when you ask yourself honestly, why am I still here? The answer is not always love. Sometimes the answer is, I don't know who I am without this. Sometimes the answer is, I'm afraid of what happens if I leave. Sometimes the answer is, I have tried so long to fix this that leaving feels like admitting I failed. Those are not the reasons to stay. Those are the reasons to examine what is keeping you there. Here's what most men do not understand about unhealthy relationships and situations. Staying in something that is broken does not make you loyal, it makes you complicit. I know that sounds hard, but think about what happens when a man stays in something unhealthy without addressing it. He absorbs the dysfunction. He normalizes the dysfunction. He begins to organize his entire internal life around managing the dysfunction. And over time, the dysfunction is no longer just in the relationship, it's in him. He becomes reactive. He becomes resentful. He becomes someone he does not recognize. And then he wonders what happened to him. What happened is that he confused tolerance with strength and staying with fairness. Now, let me say something carefully here because I want to be precise. I'm not talking about walking away from difficulty. Difficulty is not a reason to leave. Hard seasons are not a reason to leave. Conflict that can be worked through is not a reason to leave. I'm talking about something different. I'm talking about situations where the dysfunction is consistent, where you have addressed it clearly and it has not changed, where staying requires you to become less of who God designed you to be. That's a different situation, and it requires a different kind of courage. A steady man knows how to walk away, and he knows three things that most men never learn. The first thing is this: walking away is not the same as giving up. Giving up is quitting because something is hard. Walking away is choosing to stop participation in something that is consistently harmful after you have done everything in your power to address it honestly. Those are not the same decision. One is weakness, one is wisdom. Jesus walked away from crowds. He walked away from people who wanted to use him for their own agenda. He walked away from religious leaders who were not interested in truth. He loved them. He did not follow them. You can love someone and still choose not to remain inside a dynamic that consistently requires you to betray yourself. The second thing a steady man understands is this: you cannot walk away well if you walk away in anger. A lot of men wait too long. They tolerate, they absorb, they stay quiet, and eventually the resentment builds to the point where leaving becomes an explosion rather than a decision. And when a man leaves an explosion, he carries the damage with him. He doesn't get free, he just relocates the wound. A steady man walks away from a place of clarity, not a place of rage. He has named what is happening. He has addressed it directly. He has given it the chance to change. And when it has not changed, he makes a calm, deliberate decision. That kind of walking away has dignity. It does not require drama. It does not require a final confrontation. It requires clarity and the courage to act on it. The third thing is the hardest one. A steady man takes responsibility for his part before he walks away. This is where most men fail. It is easy to see what the other person did wrong. It is easy to build a case for why leaving is justified. It is much harder to ask honestly, what did I allow? What did I not say that I should have said? Where did I participate in the dysfunction instead of addressing it? That's not self-blame, that's self-awareness. And a man who walks away without that kind of honesty will end up in the same situation again with different people, because the pattern is internal and it travels. Proverbs 4:23 says this, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Above all else, not sometimes, not when it is convenient, above all else. Guarding your heart is not selfishness, it is stewardship. Your heart is the source of everything. Your leadership, your faith, your ability to love well, your capacity to serve people who actually depend on you. When you stay in a situation that consistently damages your heart, that erodes your peace, your integrity, your sense of who you are. You are not being noble. You are being negligent with the most important thing God has given you. Guarding your heart sometimes means removing yourself from what is harming it. Here's what changes when a man learns to walk away well. He stops organizing his life around managing dysfunction, and he starts building something real. He stops absorbing what is not his to carry, and he starts carrying what actually belongs to him. He stops shrinking himself into fit inside a situation that requires him to be less, and he starts becoming more of who he was designed to be. That process is not comfortable. Walking away never is. Even when it is right, it costs something. There is grief in it, there is loss in it, and a steady man does not pretend otherwise. But on the other side of it, there's something most men have never experienced. There is peace that is not dependent on someone else's behavior. There is clarity that does not require constant management. There is quiet freedom of a man who knows who he is and refuses to disappear just to keep something comfortable. That is what steadiness produces, not a perfect life, but an honest one. If you are in something right now that you know is not healthy, I'm not telling you to leave today. I'm telling you to be honest with yourself about why you are staying. If the answer is love and genuine hope in a situation that has real potential to change, stay and work it. But if the honest answer is fear of being alone, fear of what people will think, fear of starting over, then you are not staying out of strength. You're staying out of survival. And survival is not a foundation. It is just delayed pain. A steady man guards his heart. He walks away when he needs to, and he does it with clarity, not rage, with ownership, not blame, with grief, not drama. That is what it means to walk away well. In the next episode, we are going to talk about something that is built slowly, quietly, and almost invisibly. We're going to talk about quiet confidence, not the kind that performs, not the kind that dominates, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself at all. Because a steady man who has done this work starts to carry himself differently, and we are going to talk about what that actually looks like. Now, I'm Kirk Taylor, and I'll see you in the next episode.